Welcome back, everyone. This is the middle nine to the final round of the 2021 North Umpqua Invitational at Whistler's Bend, just outside Roseburg, Oregon. I'm Scott Withers, here with Jeff Korns one more time.
Yes, sir. We are in for a great round to continue your shred fest that you are on right now from the front nine, 6 down through 9. And you got some people trailing behind you. You're gaining a couple strokes on the field, but it's going to be a battle down to the end.
This course doesn't get easier as you go. I would say the front nine is your easiest nine, and then we start to get some distance. This hole is 360, and if you decide to play it the way I do, you got to throw it about 480 on a giant spike hyzer to take the trees out of play. It looked fine, but I do know there is no break on this course. Like, there's no amount of strokes that you can be ahead standing on this tee box to be like, okay, I'm safe. I don't have to keep pushing.
Absolutely. On the putting greens, you're going to have roll-away potential. And then, as we've said, pars are not hard to come by. You can put yourself in the position to take pars. But if you're not birdieing, you're not scoring. And that's the separation in the pro field out here.
Oh, yeah, and it's so easy if you're not birdieing holes, if you're missing some of the shorter ones that we have left, to, bogey going up the hill and, take another bogey somewhere else because you go over an OB line, and then all of a sudden through, holes 10 through 21 or something, you're 2 over, and it happens real quick, and then everyone's back into it. So you have to keep pushing, you have to keep being aggressive and trying to make things happen. You can see these guys didn't quite get around the trees trying to throw the wide shots, so they're just in pitch-up zone. This hole has got a lot easier over the years, though, as some of the trees that went down. The county took some giant mounds that were on the right side out. I don't know if you ever played it when the mounds were there.
I don't think I did.
Or not, but they took these giant dirt mounds that used to block the hyzer from coming in low at all, and they moved them over and built the green up on hole 19 now. So that's where that mound came from.
Gotcha.
Getting a Chris Nelson slow-mo.
Cleaning up a big one from just the edge inside circle, too.
Yeah. There we go. 2 birdies on this hole. Yeah, you don't see that very often.
No.
This hole plays just under par, but it really is just because no one really bogeys it.
Yeah, you and Chris pick up birdies, and then you got Ty Love, Jason Harden Jr., and Jared Gogol picking up the birdies. Definitely some farther throwers picking up the birdie on this hole. And the lefty.
Yeah, Jason probably going backhand roller.
I would imagine. As a lefty, I'm not. He's got a good forehand, but not 480 of distance forehand.
Yeah, the option, I guess, is to take the inside line on the forehand or to go backhand roller to get it. Jared probably went inside as well. But yeah, great birdies to pick up there, but it just shows not a lot of people bogeyed it. As we move into maybe the toughest hole in the course, hole 11, another signature hole at Whistler's. This hole is so far uphill. The video, again, never quite does it justice. I'm a fan of the backhand roller here. I didn't throw a good one at all this weekend, but even when you go over there, it's still okay.
Yeah, I like the backhand roller just because it dies out with speed and it lands on on the flight plate of the disc. Whether you have forehands or backhand air shots coming in on some kind of angle that have a chance to stand up, the roller's not going to make a 180-degree U-turn and come back at you. It's normally just going to burn out onto one of the sides of the disc.
Yeah, and these guys are smoking forehands up the hill, and they're only getting halfway to the hole. I think that's why I like the roller more than anything. It just eats up distance, and then I generally can have that, either a birdie putt or it can be 100 feet out, not having to throw this shot that they're faced with on from where the air shots end up.
Yeah, this hole is treacherous. You called it a signature hole. I almost want to just call it an infamous hole just because it is evil. It is well recognized out here at Whistler's, but it is not for its beauty of scenic views. It is for its difficulty and
testing every... Oh, God, I rolled back down the hill. It's about as bad as it can end up. I was just talking about how the backhand roller doesn't end up in bad spots, and then all of a sudden I'm throwing a full meteor turnover to get up the hill.
Chris Nelson cleans up his par, as does Zach. If Zach's there, you and Bryan have to be close.
Chris, did you go down the hill?
Thank you. We're laughing at Chris about going down the hill. I wonder if he dropped a disc on his way back to his bag on accident and had it roll all the way back down to the bottom.
Oh, it's brutal because this is
We've seen it happen.
it is a hike up this hill, and especially when it's this warm Oregon summer, you're exposed to all the sun out here. The last thing you want to do is walk down a hill you don't need to.
I'm walking off the hole saying that feels like a birdie because it absolutely does for where my drive ended up. That hole plays at 3.3. There was a birdie during
Ryan Robinson with the birdie.
Oh, I bet you.
Forehand
He's
over
not
the
going
top
backhand
or
roller. I
overhand?
bet you threw one in.
Really? That's good. It's such a cool birdie. Like, to ever pick one up on this hole is fun.
Yep. Back into
No way.
kind of a must birdie hole. I just hit the tree and I can't believe it. 230 feet. It is a unique shot shape here. This plays from the old tee pad that used to go down the hill, and then when they expanded this course to 27 holes, we now only play the top tee pad for the signature top of the world hole.
All right, Zach,
We are 0
line.
for 3 in throwing
Stay
good
the
drives
fairway
so
line.
far.
Yeah, this hole, you went from one of the hardest holes on the course, averaging 0.3 over par, to one of the easier holes on the course at
Come on,
0.4
Zach.
under par.
Okay, Zach sneaks one through, so we have one good throw. It's been a long time since I've been all the way back here. Oh, I threw it over the top. I don't know if I was trying to make that or not.
That looks like Bryan in there.
Yep, he pulled it to the right. Oh, wow. Zach's short. I thought his was pretty good. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a good putt.
Great putt. That had to be a 50-footer on a crazy side hill. That deserves the slow-mo. Step putt. It's in the air for a long time.
Clean,
And right in the heart.
spun on a rope.
Chris has looked low out of his hand, but snuck all the way down here, and he picks up a birdie with it. So, good result. This hole's hard to throw inside of 10 feet, but I feel like you should always have a 20 or 30 footer on it, and Chris was the only one that did out of our group.
Kaylee told me I
The whole place, 4/10 of a stroke under par for a reason, though. There's not a lot of bogeys on it.
No, there's just a few. And like we said, we saw some of you guys in a little bit of danger. Like Bryan was really scrambling from a tree, so you can put yourself in a rough position or potentially get a little frisky with the basket.
The wheels are coming off. Bad drive on 11. Scrambling on 12. These are long weekends. Fatigue can start to play a part at the end. And, I mean, it gets hot down here. I think we had I'd say decently mild weekend this year, and it was in the upper 80s each day. It can be hotter than that down here, though, and it can zap the energy out of you real fast.
Absolutely. And at this point, we're on round 2, but you are almost done with basically 36 holes of golf on your weekend. So it's like almost the start of the third round if you think about it that way.
Not that stupid.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Oh, I saw another
This
kick.
hole is a killer.
Yeah,
240 feet. It averages a 10th of a stroke over par. And, oh, no. Well, that's not going to do it either.
Much easier spot, I think. Yeah.
easier spot from round 1 though, I think you're thinking there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I get that this backhand down the right side works. I hate the shot. I
Yeah,
I
Bryan.
feel like I would throw it too soft every time, and I would just fluff it down the hill.
Yeah, he looked like he was coming in with maybe a little bit too much speed, coming towards that little edge cliff side.
Zach has now thrown 3, for what it's worth. He has thrown 2 shots that went nowhere, which how thick that was over there. I think the first one hit something right out of his hand, and the second one he didn't even really have an attempt. So he's got that for double when he gets up there. And this is my second.
No pull.
A big thing that I think newer players could learn, if you take the time to just sit there with a Zone or a Gator or a Justice or whatever company's overstable putter that you want to throw is, and learn angle control, learn how to land a disc at the same slope as the ground, because I think it plays a big part not in saving strokes around the green. You don't ever want to land on hyzer into a hill and then have that disc flip up and roll. it's a big key to land that thing flat to what the ground is.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can really do it with any disc, but those are like the common ones you'll see players choose. Working on landing the disc on that angle, and what we always refer to here as angle control, is a crucial thing to making your disc golf game that extra level of success and competing at the pro level.
Yeah, I mean, and more common these days is players that have good forehands, or at least the ability to scramble with their forehands around the green. And on open courses, maybe it doesn't play as much of a part, and you can kind of throw whatever you want. But when you get in these wooded courses like Whistler's is, a big key to being able to save par from bad spots is the ability to throw both forehand and backhand out of those bad spots.
Absolutely. And you look at some of the best scramblers on tour like Ricky and Eagle, they have both of those shots. They use rollers as well into that game. But getting up and down is the crucial part to not taking bogeys and scoring well.
And we are back, jumping straight into hole 14, 300-foot hole. You can see the cliff on the left side. It doesn't really come into play, or shouldn't come into play. Crist for the second day in a row is kind of yanking it down the right side and getting all the way through.
Yeah, this hole, like you said, the cliff shouldn't come into play. Maybe a tree kick could send you in the wrong direction, but that was almost the pure shot you're exactly looking for.
Yeah, I like the inside line. I know it's a little more dangerous. I feel like I throw that flip-up buzz shot pretty well. I've been taking that inside line for years. The right line that Bryan and Crist both went through, whether intentional or not, is maybe a little safer. It's just hard to get right next to the basket. And then Zach bringing the cliff into play, but he should still be up top.
Yeah, Bryan looked disappointed immediately out of his hand with a little bit of a yank, but he's down there, got a long look.
Chris, we're both like 40.
Yeah, and Chris and Zach and I all talking, saying we're all about 40 feet, or at least Zach and I were. Chris might have got a little inside of that. That last tree did not help my cause. This is a notoriously bad basket out here at Whistler's, too. Basket doesn't matter when you don't hit it.
We'll see if Chris can bring one birdie into play from this lead card.
Got it.
Yeah.
He's on a little bit of a charge.
Yeah, he was a little bit slower early, picking up one early bogey on the front nine, but now he's bringing something together, making a little bit of a push.
Yeah, Bryan, normal cleanup, good cleanup. You got to do it. I mean, I know we don't like having to make par putts, but at the same time, on this course, if you miss the birdie putt, you almost always have some form of a cleanup that's a little tough for par.
Yeah, Bryan's one of those players, he has that confidence to spin those longer ones and kind of give them a bid because, like we said, he is so strong from that 25 to 40-foot range. He doesn't three-putt often, so he's, confident making those comebackers.
I love the way Bryan's putt hits the basket. It's like kind of slow moving, but when it gets there, it hits hard.
Yeah, it just always like firm into the basket, but like you said, he's never cruising by a basket, really.
Yeah, Hole 15, if you ever get the chance to come out to Whistler's, I highly suggest you play both tee pads on this hole because this little shot is cool, but there is an edge of the world shot about 200 feet up and behind where we're at right now that is one of the most beautiful views you're ever going to find on a disc golf course.
Yeah, it's like a little miniature top of the world. So players are going to, you see the option of going both forehand and backhand. Most players, I think, are going to go the backhand. I would have thought Chris would have gone the backhand with like his mortar or a stud. But elected to go forehand.
Yeah, we talked about it in the first round when he threw the forehand and rolled all the way down the hill, and he was like, no, I'm going to make the forehand work. And, well, you don't see him make that mistake too often where he hits early on the hill, but I hate this one. Like, that one stayed.
Oh, man.
But, man, this hill's so steep. Now you can see it, right? From this angle, you can tell.
This is one of the best times I've ever seen elevation or angled something shown properly on camera. It never quite is easy to grasp, but you can see the slope of the hill and the angle the pole's coming out of the ground.
Oh, it's in.
Anything to the left is, see ya, 80 feet or more.
You can see Zach going down the hill. It's hard to walk down this hill.
Yeah.
Like, you almost have to run. And I got some bees near my disc, and I've had nothing but a hell of a time with bees for the last year and a half. So I was letting them clear out of the way. I don't know, man. I was never allergic to bees, and then I swear the last couple years I've just got blown up by them so many times that now I swell up pretty bad if I get stung.
I got stung once when I was like 5 years old, and then I like went the next almost 20 years of my life not getting stung, and then I've had a streak of getting stung in the ankle like 4 times in the past year and a half out while playing disc golf. And I'm never I never see the bee. I'm just there, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, there's a sharp pain in my ankle. What the heck is going on? I look down and there's a bee on my leg, like somehow stinging me through a sock. I'm just like, why is this my day?
Whistler's is notoriously bad about that too. There's a lot of ground nests out here. It is so dry in the park, and they're almost never up in the air, so you don't see them. It's all ground nests. They'll get you. I think we got through this year without too much of an issue. But hole 16, 350 feet, super cool hole.
That's a bad shot.
This one's turned over a little bit, but looked okay. I like that forehand. It comes back at the end. For the second day in a row, Kaylee is up spotting and is running after my disc, which we thought stayed this time, but we're going to find out.
Yeah, you are
Last time I rolled, dude,
I don't know,
far down the hill.
You were basically throwing the distance to the basket from just a different angle on this hill.
Oh my God. I was so frustrated yesterday when that happened, and just took us forever to find, and we did, and it was so far away. If you haven't watched round 1 coverage, Colin kind of gets it on video, but it took me forever. Chris is going backhand with a PD here, and I mean, this is a great shot. He has to smash this disc off his hand to get it to go 350 feet up this hill.
Yeah, I like the backhand option on this hole, up the hill. I just don't want to bring those trees into play with the forehand like kind of Bryan did. Like, it's a long way up the hill, so it's like pretty, like, not elite, but pretty sizable distance for a forehand.
You got to have a pretty elite forehand to be really trying to get birdies on this one with it. I think I probably throw a forehand like 375 or 380, and that's like the minimum that you can do it.
Yeah, you'd probably have played with him on this. Uh-oh. Oh, no, Scott.
Oh, boy. For the second day in a row, I land one within 30 feet of the basket, and this time we didn't find it. And that was frustration and just like, whatever, let's move on. We never found it. It was a super sweet ESP nuke that I'd been throwing so well, and I bet you it's still there. I mean, we are, 6 or 7 months after that event right now, and there is no way anyone's found that disc yet.
Oh, wow. That's a great birdie from Chris, and he's going to be picking up 3 strokes on you.
3. Yeah. Yep. And that was, we had a spotter both days. Both days my forehand rolled all the way down the hill. Round 1 we found it 300 feet away from the basket. Round 2 we never found it. So
So we
Talk
now
about frustration after it happens 2 days in a row.
and we now know to tell Kaylee stand on the left side of the basket, down the hill, and hopefully she never sees your disc come that way.
God, right?
I was going to ask you, what does Sexton throw on this hole? Because he has got tons of rounds out here, and he's got the forehand distance.
Yeah, I think he just throws X-Cal forehand.
Does he?
The same basic line that I'm trying to throw. So, and now, all of a sudden, things have tightened up a lot.
Yeah, wow. You had Chris, that we said, has been kind of putting something together. He's just been slowly grinding, kind of putting together a quiet middle nine. But you bleeding away 3 strokes there brings much more into play, and Chris is a little high, but looks solid.
Yep, Colin lost it on camera there and is going to skip to the left and just have your normal kind of upshot for par. It looks like when this hole gets breezy, it can be tough. It looks like conditions are pretty calm up here right now, and they're not carrying things too far left or right. But I would prefer, if we have to have any wind on this, to have it be left to right, but that's very rarely the case. It's almost always carrying it from right to left. I like Zach's approach here. Get that thing wide, let it swing. That's a pretty good shot.
Yeah, that's well played. That's probably middle of circle 2, but good shot.
Yep. I'm going back to this 4-claw force. Hit the pole in round 1. Let's see, a little low here.
One lift, please lift.
Didn't get the lift. I'm asking for it to get a little air bounce, which it can sometimes, and
Almost.
that's a fine shot. I'm a little frustrated because of what happened on the previous hole, and now I'm feeling like, hey, I've dominated this tournament the whole time, and I've been ahead by 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, and now all of a sudden, it's kind of bleeding away a little bit, but threes on this one are what they are. This hole plays at 3.14, which, it honestly kind of surprises me that it's that easy, that it doesn't play more, because it's so hard to get birdies on this.
Yeah, it looks like there was a decent little chunk of birdies. We got 5 here from Jared Gogol, Kenny Hall, Kenny Shelton, Logan Warren, and Taryn Ferguson picking up the bird on this hole.
Yeah, that's great. Any 2 on this is a big bonus.
Your angle was a little friendlier. A little bit.
And I kind of jinxed Zach there, I realized. I told him that I told everyone he didn't birdie before he made that putt. I kind of forgot that. Oh no, Chris.
This is a sneaky. This and 18. Oh, Brian.
Oh no.
They're tricky little putting greens because you went from in the woods to in the open. There's some elevation and there's always some wind coming through this point of the park. Those 2 were short misses, ones that they definitely want to have back. But I would say even if you're outside 25 feet on this hole, they're tough putts, and it's weird because there's really nothing in the way.
No, you can see your shirt kind of rippling there. Like there's some wind blowing, but again, you see the frustration. Both those players are kind of wondering, why did I miss that putt? It's not the stroke I want to give away.
No, we were talking about like that 20-foot range, and those were both in there. They both need to be automatic for an MPO player that's trying to contend for a win. You know when you're playing in Oregon that it does take. You got to average 1030 to 1040 to win a B tier, and you don't do that by missing those putts.
Absolutely. We go into. I love this hole. I think it's a great pro-level par 3, 445 feet with a little bit of downhill elevation. You got to throw a straight shot through the gap, and you got to land it cleanly with some angle control and speed coming to the green because it does slope off right to left.
In the campground.
And you don't quite get enough turn, and you're going to just kind of fade it to.
Okay.
Call that par range.
Yeah, you're not in danger of anything, any kind of obstruction, but you're outside of the birdie look.
Yep, Chris trying to make the correction, and somewhere in between where ours went is what you need. We threw some good shots on it in the first round, but in the second round here, we're starting to get a little tired. You see Brian's got a DD3 in his hand, so he's going distance driver. He probably needs to keep it right for like 400 feet and then let it start coming back, and that's pretty good. You can get a long look out of it.
Yeah, you kind of get that right to right flex, fade it back to the basket.
I know Brian's constantly working really hard on adding more distance. He's definitely a control player, but he's always talking to me about form, like what he can do to kind of clear his right hip out quicker, what he needs to do with extension, and he's definitely a student of the game when it comes to trying to study form to be able to add a little more distance.
Absolutely. I talked to Brian about the same thing too. We always send each other videos. We're like, hey, what do you see? What can I do? How can I keep this, clean? Because he's a guy that, he could easily just go and throw 90 feet farther if he wanted to, but he's going to lose a bunch of control. So he really wants to build that the right way, keep that smooth, crisp backhand that he has, and just keep lengthening it the right way.
Yeah, we're really lucky in the Northwest or in Oregon in general to kind of have a pretty tight group at the top of the MPO field, and guys that are always there to help each other. We practice together a lot. We train together a lot. Anytime that we can all be together playing cash games or whatever, it's been something that I know has really pushed Crist to jump up into being the elite Northwest player that he is, and his rating's taken a big jump. Brian works really hard at it. Like Justin Anderson works really hard at it. There's just a lot of guys in the area that we've all kind of become buddies, and we're all pushing each other to get better. And then we get to tournament rounds and we can try to, compete. But everyone's been pretty tight with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And after 18 holes, you got a little bit of a lead here, but we'll see how it wraps up in the back 9 of round 2.
Hey guys, Colin here with CH Sports. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to my coverage sponsors. These videos would not be able to come to life without these people's help, so I really appreciate it. There's plans starting as low as $3 a month, and every single dollar helps grow the channel. If you would like to see your name or business listed in the credits of every single one of my videos, please head over to patreon.com/chsports.